We honor New York like we always should. Plus, the Jimmies get ready for their first Division II home game, and you'll meet SEMO's head coach. Hot Mike starts now.
Hot Mike with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mike.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mike. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo. Dom Izzo.
Good Thursday morning. Welcome to the We're Back edition of Hot Mike on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV, good morning, everybody in Sioux Falls, KNBN in Rapid City, and Inforum.com. Happy Thursday, everybody. September the 11th, 2025. Welcome to the show. I am Dom Izzo, host of said program. Too often I've been doing this, as we mentioned, 6 years last week, so now we're well into year 7. Too often I have started the show with, I don't know how to do it after what we saw yesterday. And I'm already well in double digits that I do this. And I understand for a lot of people that will watch our show or listen to it later that this is their escape from what happens on a day-to-day basis. But after what went down again yesterday, whether it was in Utah or Colorado, it's hard. It's just, you're human. Just sit here and what are we doing? And I sent my son to school today, and this was the first time, and I hugged him even harder. Maybe I should have been doing this a long time ago, but I hugged him even harder before he left this morning. And that might be hyperbolic to some or overreactionary. It's just, I don't know. It's just how I felt this morning. And I'll save a little bit more for later. We're here I want to have a good time, and we'll do that. But it's hard not to just shake your head. And if I love this program, we're able to have conversation and we are allowed to disagree. That's the whole point of America, is to be able to disagree with one another and share one's opinion and not resort to violence, not resort to that. That, to me, was the best part about our country, and it seems lost right now. It has for a while. And I just shake my head at what's my son growing up in? For people that have young kids out there like I do, what are we raising our children in right now? It just is a scary. That to me is more scary than anything. I'm 46 years old. This is I can vividly remember September 12th, 2001, and what that felt like. And we are a million miles from that. Million. I'll save that for a little bit later in the show, because I always do this on September 11th, because as a New Yorker, I don't know if I have more jurisdiction towards it, or because I think every American should feel that was alive that saw it has a connection to it. Being a native New Yorker, there's a little bit more to it. I don't know if you have more stake in the game than anybody else that lost somebody in it, but it hits differently. And I'll save that for later on at our show. The sports is nicknamed the toy department in many newsrooms, and I'm okay with that. But there are times where we have to do some heavy lifting, and I'm also okay with that too, with knowing full well what those roads intersect. And frankly, it's times when sports can either uplift or distract, like it did shortly after the attacks in New York City and North Washington, D.C. and Pennsylvania, that it was unifying in that. And We can't unite on anything. Not even sports. Which is fine. I mean, the whole basis of sports is people arguing with one another that their team is better than the other. That is not what I'm talking about. Just to say we can all sit and enjoy something, that seems like a way long ago age. Like that's passed us by and it ain't coming back. And just that's how I felt. And I'll share a little bit more later, especially on today, what it means for me. There's no easy segue, so I'm not even going to try and do one. As we are now to Thursday, which means we've got a new football weekend here. Got a big one tonight in Green Bay. We'll chat about later on the show. Commanders and Packers. I can't confirm or deny that's why Eric is off today. That his Packers are playing tonight. That he's not here, but we'll get into that coming up later on in the show. The Vikes are getting ready for a Sunday night game with Atlanta, and this might be a walking wounded crew because yesterday, that's when teams are obligated to release their injury report or practice report. And I looked at it, and it was 10 guys long. So Blake Cashman, we know he left the game Monday, hamstring, he did not participate. Ty Chandler, knee, DNP. Ryan Kelly, the starting center with a toe, DNP. Jeff Okudah got a concussion. That happened, I think, on the last play of the game, DNP. Josh Oliver, ankle, DNP. Andrew Van Ginkel, my guy, outside linebacker, concussion, DNP. Miles Price, limited with a knee. Harrison Smith, limited illness. Obviously, he didn't play. Darisaw, thankfully, was full. Jalen Naylor, full participant. Xavier Scott, full participant. Elijah Williams, full participant. That's a lot of guys. Cashman, I think we have to assume he's not playing. Chandler, I mean, if you're not practicing today, you're likely not playing Sunday. That's the rule of thumb. Ryan Kelly, DNP. So Kelly, Okudah, Van Ginkel, those are the ones I look at like, ooh, boy. Darisaw going, I think they sat Darisaw on Monday because of the turf, the grass at Soldier Field, coming back from his major knee injury. We have sound here from KOC from yesterday, listing off the guys hurt, which takes a while, and then a little bit of sound on J.J. McCarthy. This is from yesterday with KOC.
Giving you guys an update on some injuries. So I know with Blake Cashman and Ty Chandler, Ty was able to finish the game, but it looks like both of them will miss some time. We're still working through what that looks like roster-wise, but I do plan on both of them returning. But I don't have a real timetable as far as what that looks like from a standpoint of the next few weeks. Jeff Okudah and Andrew Van Ginkel did come out of the game and have been placed into the concussion protocol. So that will be something that to monitor clearly on a short week with both of those players. They're both doing well, but they are indeed in the protocol, and they will, work their way through that here over the next few days, and we'll see where they're at for the football game. Harrison Smith, Christian Darisaw will both continue to ramp up their work, and it's just there was a game on Monday night, but as we continue to progress forward, they are part of a daily mission of getting back on the field, and both doing very well. And then also Xavier Scott and Elijah Williams will return this week to practice as well. We got some other guys. It was a very physical football game. We got some other guys dealing with some bumps and bruises that may show up on the injury report, but for the most part, wanted to update you guys on those names. Congratulations to J.J. McCarthy on the NFC Offensive Player of the Week honor, and looking forward to seeing him build on that. It starts today. It starts with his preparation. Again, I thought he had a great week of preparation that led him into being able to overcome some adversity and help lead us out of a place where we weren't playing very well offensively, and we found a way to get on track there towards the tail end of that football game.
All right, so if the head coach is taking a minute to describe the injury update, not ideal, but that's exactly where the Vikings are at on a short week, playing Monday night, and then come back have to play Sunday night with Atlanta. The Cashman one is bothersome because when he went out last year, he was playing really well, and the Vikes defense scuffled when he was out of the lineup, and he wears the green dot. I imagine that goes to Eric Wilson now, and Wilson was really good in the game Monday, not only on defense, on special teams as well. He had that tip of the punt in the fourth quarter that, again, had flipped the momentum the Vikings' way. Chandler doesn't seem like innocuous is probably too harsh of a word, but I don't know how big a deal that is. Having Darisaw back is going to be monstrous for McCarthy. To have a Pro Bowl caliber, all-pro caliber left tackle back, the Vikes guy that they drafted, have developed to get him back. You can't underestimate that for, again, a rookie quarterback making his second start. And you got to know it's going to be even more amped inside U.S. Bank on Sunday night, especially after how they won Monday. Now to welcome this team home, knowing full well what's ahead. And when we get in this, depending on how the game goes on Sunday night, that they have Cincinnati after this at home, and then it's the European road trip with the Steelers and the Browns waiting in London and Dublin after that. So this is, you get this, you're sitting at 2-0 and knowing you got the Browns and Steelers and not on the road. Those games are not going to be played in Cleveland and Pittsburgh. They're going to be overseas. Again, that's an opportunity here. That's what happens when you're able to steal one like they did. And they definitely stole it on Thursday night, or on Monday night, excuse me. All right, real quick before we set up the show, we're obligated, anything Twins related, we're not obligated to show anything, but if something big happens, we will show it. And that was the case yesterday as they were wrapping up their set with the Angels before they come back home. It was a rather innocuous game outside of the fact that Byron Buxton hit another home run. And I said this earlier in the week when he became the first Twin to be a 30-20 player since Kirby Puckett. That happened on Sunday. Yesterday, they're facing the Angels. Again, that's a lost franchise, too. You just shake your head at that one. Buxton hit another one. And just, you look at the season he's had, and you're just shaking your head like it's just a wasted year because the Twins are bad. James Outman, who they picked up in the trade, I forget, Brock Stewart trade. I have to remind myself here because it's over a month since all the deals went down. Gave him an early lead. That's the home run there from Buxton, number 31, a 2-run home run that tied the game up at 3. The Angels would take the lead back on this liner from Trout that's actually caught as a sac fly that would get the go-ahead run to score for the Angels to give them a 4-3 lead. Kenley Jansen is their closer. If you would have told me that, I wouldn't have believed you. I didn't know he's still in the league. He gets the final out here as the Angels end up taking 2 of 3 from Minnesota, winning 4-3 yesterday. Twins have now lost 8 of their last 10. They're a solid now 18 games under 500, 64 and 82. They cannot have a winning record this season, which I think we all surmised was coming. Taj Bradley had a better start. That's something, we'll talk with Corey Provis tomorrow. Corey was out of the booth yesterday with an illness, so hopefully he's feeling better when the Twins are back home here after this road trip that took them to Kansas City and L.A. They got the Diamondbacks waiting for them tomorrow night at Target Field. But Bradley, 6 1/3, 4 hits, 3 runs, couple of walks, and 5 strikeouts. That's, again, you're hoping for 26 here. And that sucks because we got great baseball races going on. And that's the fun part about September, is that when your team's in it, my team is in it. They're fighting for their life. I can't believe I'm saying that considering they were 10 games in front of Philadelphia. Now they're 10 games back of Philadelphia, which makes me sick to my stomach to say that out loud. But that's the fun part of September. When your team's in it, it's awesome. And when they're not, it feels like forever. And frankly, the Twins, the trade deadline was what? July 31st? July 30th? Doesn't that seem like it was 8 months ago? They played a whole month of games that didn't matter. And we got a whole 2 more weeks, so 2 whole months of baseball games that aren't going to matter. Just not good. And you look at the teams who have the worst record over the last 3 months. By the way, the Mets are in that group. That's awesome. The Twins, I think, are second behind Colorado. You don't want to have any association with the Rockies. And it all traces back to Colorado before we set up the show. Remember that series out of the All-Star break because they were teetering, right? About what are they in or out? And what happened after the All-Star break? They lost 2 or 3 to the Rockies. Not that we needed any more red flags, but that was it. And after that, here we are with guys like this is their lineup yesterday, just real quick. Buxton, Austin Martin, Trevor Larnach, Luke Keyshaw, Cody Clemens, Royce Lewis, Mickey Gasper, Ryan Fitzgerald, and James Outman. How many of those 9 are going to be with the team next year? Buxton, Keyshaw, Lewis is all I can say. That's 1/3 of the starting lineup. That's not great. There's no guarantee Larnach's back. Yikes. We got a packed show coming for you here on this Thursday morning. Big weekend in Jamestown as the Jimmies get set for their first Division II home game. Brian Mistro will join us coming up at 9:35 to chat about that. No, there's a lot of excitement around that. Tough opener for Jamestown. Lost to Augustana in their D2 opener. Now back home, Southwest Minnesota State comes to town coming up on Saturday. We'll talk with Coach Mistro coming up at 9:35. It is Thursday, so our guy Sam Goetzinger will join us in studio. He's working on a couple fun stories for Bison Game Day this week, and we'll chat. We'll tout his Colts after a dominating win in Week 1. That's coming up at 10. And at 10:35, Tom Matukewicz will join us, the head coach at Southeast Missouri State. The Redhawks, with a lowercase h, not like the Fargo-Moorhead Redhawks with an uppercase H, are coming to town on Saturday. First time they've ever played in the state of North Dakota for a matchup with the Bison. We'll get his thoughts on his program and what he's heard about the Dome and the Bison. That's coming up at 10:35. Our guest lineup brought to you each and every day by Northwestern Mutual. We appreciate that. We are off and rolling on this Thursday morning. We come back, tip of the hat to the city of New York. That's coming up when we come back on a Thursday morning edition of Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com. Welcome back, everybody. Thursday morning show off and rolling. Don't forget, tonight we've got 2 volleyball games for you here on Extra. Horace and Cheyenne. That'll be fun. 7 o'clock tonight after those 2 teams played at the Lights, at the Landon Lights Invitational on Tuesday. And on WDAY 2, we're over in Hawley tonight for Barnesville and the Nuggets. That's on WDAY 2. Each match coverage begins at 7 o'clock tonight on WDAY Extra and WDAY 2. You can stream everything as well right on your phone on WDAY Plus. Also available at Inforum.com. I wanted to set aside a couple minutes here on what we were talking about at the top of the show. And with the inevitable finger pointing that will already either happening or ongoing, it just, to me, that is so counterproductive of what we need today. And that's just my opinion. My name's on the show. I'm going to share it. Because I can vividly remember what September 12th, 2001 felt like, which was, at the time, I'm 22 years old. It's my senior year of college. I've told this story before, and I'm not going to get into a ton here. My college, where I went to school, my hometown, we are 4.5 hours from New York City. I had just been in Manhattan that summer. I was right at the base of the World Trade Center that summer, July of 2001. My alma mater, State University of New York at Oswego, go Lakers. We had a ton of students that would come from the city up to Oswego, which I never understood. Like, as growing up where I did, like, you want to go there. You don't want to go the other way. But we did. And that was a harrowing day for a lot of people. One of my best friends, his dad drove a bus at the time, and his route was right by the World Trade Center at that time. And it was unbelievably scary because there were no cell phones because all the towers were on top of the World Trade Center. All the cell phone towers were. And obviously they were, you couldn't connect with anybody. That was the terrifying part of it. He actually did finally get a hold of his dad, but it wasn't until 12 hours later. And to me, there was two moments that made it feel surreal. Was walking, because at that moment, watching on television, we hadn't heard that school was canceled yet. So we still went to school that day. I did, and sat in a class, and then finally said, "Hey, we're done. We're not doing this," and got up and left. And how eerie it felt to walk around campus. And I went to our campus TV station because invariably that's where I always was. And we just sat with our crew, friends, whatever. It was nobody said a word. Just watching what was happening on television. And I left and went home, and because I lived at home with my dad, and that was the one surreal moment of it was, and I've told this story before, so I apologize for people that have heard it, but that day, it was 3:00 in the afternoon, I think, by then, and getting out of my car and feeling the ground shake, and like, what's going on? And two F-15s come screeching over our house because we have two nuclear power plants in my hometown. And they were heading there because at that moment we didn't know. And obviously there's been documentary after documentary told about that particular day and the bewilderment that the government had that day and the not knowing of what potentially could happen next. And that's when I looked at my dad like, okay, now I'm freaked. That was surreal still. And I can remember what it sounded like, felt like that day. And I actually went back. I was in New York City that following December, so 3 months later. One thing for people that have never gone, I can't encourage you more to do it. Find time to go. How quiet it was right after. That was December. Because New York is loud. It's vibrant. There's just stuff to do all over the place. It's fantastic. It's the greatest city in the world. And it was how quiet it was something that I took away from it. And I've been back actually a couple times for work since I've started working here in Fargo. I was there in 2011 when the Yankees honored the 50-year anniversary of Roger Maris breaking Babe Ruth's record. And I went to the top of the Empire State Building, which is a task for me because I despise heights. And I shared these photos here because you just cannot fully appreciate how big it is. Way out there in the distance, that's the Statue of Liberty. That's way out there. I'm on the top of the Empire State Building here. Again, this is looking south, so across the Hudson River there, which is New Jersey. You cannot fully appreciate until you've been there to see it. And I know some are like, "Oh, it's too big, Dom," and I just get swallowed up in it. You know, I actually, and I'm not trying to brag, one thing I never thought I would do is actually drive in Manhattan. I did that on this particular trip when I was there, which now that's a badge of honor because I drove from Manhattan to the Bronx because I was trying to get to Yankee Stadium, which is where the Bronx is. Or where Yankee Stadium is. And so I have that now next to me so I can say I've done it, which I think, again, everybody should do. It's a fabulous place. And I think of it often leading up to today, and especially today. And I know they weren't alone because Washington, D.C. and the Pentagon got hit, and the United 93 plane that was crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania that was heading for the Capitol, which after you've gone to Washington, D.C., and then you have another appreciation for that. Today is you say you never forget. And I always tweet out the video ESPN produced on Wells Crowther, the man in the red bandana, which is the best piece of video ESPN's ever done. a stockbroker who wanted to be a firefighter that saved countless lives that day on the South Tower of the World Trade Center. And I have not been back since the Freedom Tower has gone up. It's on the bucket list to go see it. And I know many in our area have gone. I believe some field trips in our area have gone. It's quite a powerful sight. And on a day like today, after what happened yesterday, all I can say is just to take a minute before you type anything. Take a minute before you say anything and just think about what you're going to say. Think about what you're going to type. Because I had several things ready yesterday, and I didn't. I took a minute, took a breath, which I think is good for not just what happened yesterday or today. I think it's good. The older I get, I try to not react like I would even 5 years ago. I hope I've learned a little patience or a little temperance as you get older. Because we have enough that are going to scream into microphones and say God knows what. And that's all I can say for people, for at least my perspective today, is it's good to disagree. It's healthy to do that, in my opinion. What's not healthy is to be violent about it, is to get physically angry about it to the point where you feel like this is the only recourse you need, because that doesn't help. Because I can remember later in the day, and this seems like it was 1,000 years ago now with the current temperature of our country, that the entire U.S. Congress is on the steps of the Capitol, arm in arm together, singing God Bless America. I mean, go back and find it. It was like 7 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night on September 11th, 2001. That seems like it's like from here to Mars happening. Is there any world you think that? And that's sad. And you shake your head at it. Temperance. Just some patience. That's all I would say today. All right, we'll break. We come back. We'll shift gears, chat some football. University of Jamestown getting ready for its Division II home opener. Head coach Brian Mistro will join us as the Jimmies get ready for Southwest State. That's coming up on the other side of the break. Back on Hot Mic after this. Welcome back, everybody. Thursday morning show off and rolling. You'll hear from Southeast Missouri State head coach Tom Matukewicz coming up in about an hour. Red Hawks getting ready for their battle with the Bison on Saturday. Also on Saturday in Jamestown, pretty big deal. The Jimmies are going to host their first game as a Division II school as they'll take on Southwest Minnesota State after falling in their opener to Augustana. Always great to visit with head coach Brian Mistro this morning. I was just visiting, obviously, before on what went down yesterday. You're a head coach of 100 guys aged, 18 to 23, which, I mean, they can't agree on anything, let alone, the color of the sky. I'm just, as you saw what unfolded yesterday, how do you even address that? How do you talk to your team about what's happening in the country these days?
I was getting the field ready, putting pylons down and things, and some of the guys are coming down like, Coach, did you see this? I'm like, see what? And so I really didn't know what was going on, and then so we didn't really address or talk about much yesterday. But listening to you, Dom, and just kind of before we got on, we're in a fragile state right now, and I'm going to talk to our guys like, guys love each other, man. And we can have healthy conflict and we can disagree. But I think I saw somebody on Twitter that's got some ties. I think it was NDSU, a former player. Like, football locker rooms are a place where people should really examine, because we come from all different walks of life, all different parts of the country, and we can come together for a common goal. And it's fun to watch unfold and fun to watch happen. And we're, I think Mother Teresa said it, like, go home and you want to change the world, go home and love your family. because I think that there's a lot of evil and a lot of hate going on. And I think being able to spread the love and accept each other for who we are, man, like, let's go. And maybe I'm a little tunnel visioned on some of that stuff, and I don't get too political, but I'll tell you what, man, it's our guys are seeing this stuff, and we have to, as coaches, we have to be able to help guide them and give them advice and direct them as they go into their lives, because that's our job. Winning football games is a part of it. Yeah, man, I get it. But I want our guys to go out and be the reasons why their communities change and be the voice and reason for some of these things. So God bless, everything that's going on right now, because it's fragile.
It's well said. There's no easy segue to chat, as they say in the toy department, but you got a big game coming up. First, I want to start. We had you here in studio in July, in the amp up, the lead up to what was to come. Game 1 was Saturday. People are going to see the score. I know that you mentioned it's all based on wins and losses. How do you take away Game 1 as a Division II school?
Our guys, we were prepped mentally, physically. This was one of the better weeks of practice that we had. We've changed up some of our practice schedule, and I thought our guys went in and they competed. New offensive coordinator, new special teams coordinator. There's a lot of new going on, new league, new team that we've never played. And I thought our guys came in with the right temperament, and our guys were locked in. Augie's a better football team, especially in the first half. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend, there's some self-inflicted wounds that we had as far as jumping off sides, dropping balls, things offensively that we couldn't get the rhythm rolling. Mm-hmm. And then defensively, they go down and score on their first drive, but then we're able to get a 3 and out. And you could see spots. And so it's building off of the small victories. And then we get into the second half, and, I listened to Coach Lockway talk yesterday too, or a couple days ago. And, they did play a lot of guys down at Augie, and they were able to get some of their guys some reps and things like that. But let's be real, man, their twos are still a lot better than some of the teams and things that we've seen in the past. And so I thought we did a great job in the second half, but man, I hate losing, and I hate losing as much as I enjoy winning. And so it's a big thing for me to make sure that our guys understand, and this is our deal, right? Like, we're going to chop and carry in everything we do. So, like, who cares about the previous play? Who cares about the previous score? Who cares about the previous game? I don't care about practice yesterday right now. I care about what can we do in this moment to continue ourselves to get better and better and better, and to put out a competitive product on a field where we're hosting our first ever Division II game. And we have some good juju going on, because I'll tell you what, man, like the last time we had Southwest at our place, I was a player and we won. So let's get it going.
So you're tapping into that. There you go.
I'm trying to tap into
anything you can, right? The anticipation for this just around town. What is it like knowing this is a big deal coming on Saturday?
I think it's great. We get pretty packed houses early in the year, especially with the weather and things that are nice in a smaller community where and our guys are so involved in the community. Like, we had 85 guys here this summer that worked in town, that got to know people, that are inviting their bosses to games and families. And we have enough regional flair on our team where I think it's going to be awesome. And so that excitement level, I think, is no matter what. But I also think that people are curious. Like, all right, how are you guys going to be? Because let's be real, and nobody's giving us a shot. Mm-hmm. And I get that. And let's wear that. Let's put that on your shoulder, guys, and let's go. Because we know that what matters is what's being said in the room. It's the locker room. It's our meeting rooms. It's our practices. Like, we're going to focus on us. It's not about who we're playing. It's not about whatever team's coming into town. We'll watch film. We'll get you guys schemed up. But, let's focus on what we need to do and the things that we can do right to put ourselves in the best position to potentially win a football game.
You feel like this is not one the guys will be too amped for, but knowing, all right, it's a chance to go out. We want to play well in front of our home fans, that you have to maybe reel them in a little bit before the game, or no?
Yeah, we talk so much, and if you can guess, I'm a big mental imagery guy, and being able to have the mental strength to keep an even slate, man. Mm-hmm. And we call it an optimal arousal level. Like, we even have words for this stuff, okay? So, whatever that is, some guys are good here. And you're even-keeled, middle of the road, you're good. Some guys perform the best when they are up higher. And some guys don't even have a heartbeat sometimes, I think. And it just, like watching Greg Maddox pitch. There's no way that guy's heart rate ever got above 80. But then you watch, John Rocker pitch, and it was a different ball game. and so I think whatever our optimal point of being in the zone. And so let's find that, and then let's stay there. And don't let the highs get too high, and don't let the lows get too low. And I think, that's something that I've been told my whole life as a football player, as a baseball player, and just being an athlete. Like, you can't be a roller coaster. You have to be a dude that is able to be even-keeled no matter what the situation is. And I think that can carry into life too, man.
I want to ask on just going out, you knew what the talent was, but actually seeing it, does that change your constant evaluation as this year goes? Like, okay, we know the kind of players we need. Now we're out there facing it, we're playing it, that you're constantly like writing down, this is the kind of players we need going forward?
Well, I think we've always kind of known that.
Yeah.
Even in recruiting, we were always waiting on when the D2s were done, and they were waiting on when the FCS were done and the FBI. Like, it always a trickle-down effect.
Yep.
And so because we are scholarship level as an NAI, when we were NAI, like, we were still able to give money out, like, hey, we're waiting, coach, until we get this offer. Well, so we kind of know the guys that we need to go after anyway, but let's call a spade a spade. If we're in the Big Ten, like, we're not Ohio State. We're not going to go and get the 5-star kid. We need to bring in kids that are Jimmies that we can develop to be really good Division II football players. And so we might take some chances on guys that nobody else did. But we have 13 commits right now, which is the most we've had ever before September. So, like, for us, we know that we're finally starting to be a bigger option. And of those 13, 10 of them had other Division II offers. Like, we're starting to get there, but just as well as I do and everybody in the wall knows, like, football's a different sport. The 18-year-old kid isn't ready. And so we need to be able to grow and develop those young men and retain them to be freshman to sophomore to junior to senior year. And by the time they're in their third or fourth year of college, now we got a grown man. Let's go.
You have, I know, a really knowledgeable fan base, so maybe this question is asinine, but is this how much you have to instruct them? Like, okay, this is a building process. We're gonna take some lumps here maybe early on, but it might be small gains for bigger things down the road.
I was joking around with my boss, like, when you label the Coach Mistro years going back, when, we're 30, 40 years from now, like, I'm basically the transition guy at this point. So, like, we went from the North Star, we went into the GPAC, which went from one of the best leagues in the country at that level. Okay, we finally got to the point where I thought we were competitive. The wins were not there yet, but we were in one-score games. We were scaring top 10 teams. Like, we were there. All right, guys, we're going Division II. All right, here we go. And so for me, like, I think everybody knows, but you still, as an alum, as a fan, as a parent, as a coach, like, at some point, like, we got to win games. And I think I'm so blocked off on the idea that, like, I'm not worried about my job. I'm not trying to just do whatever I can to keep. This is where I'm at. And we talked a little bit about it before we got started, man. Like, we believe in certain things. And if God has a plan for me, dude, like, I'm going to do whatever I can. I feel like this is my calling to help be in young people's lives, to help them grow and learn. And I'm going to do whatever I can to put them in positions to be successful. And that's what our staff does. And so I let the ball roll where it falls, man. So, like, I know that they know, but I also know that they want to see victories on the board. So, yeah, I'm around the community and we're talking like, hey, this is going to be an uphill battle. So what? Anything that's worth doing is going to be hard. How are we going to handle the hard?
I had Dr. Peterson came on for an episode of the Sit Down here, a couple months ago, and I asked her about the transition, knowing full well the challenge that lies ahead, and she's firmly behind you and your plan. How much confidence has that given you, knowing the president is on board with what your plan is, what you want to do with football?
Well, she's the ultimate Jimmy, man. She's more Jimmy than I. Yeah. And so, she's been here. She was a student athlete. She worked her way up. I mean, at some point, I think she was the janitor too, from admissions to provost. I mean, she was running the whole show. And so it's really cool to know that because she gets it. And I think, I've never been the head coach anywhere else. So to say out loud that I have people above me, the cabinet level member, the board level member, that gets it, that understands who we are and what we're trying to accomplish, it does help me put my head down on the pillow at night. I can tell you that. Because they believe in what we're doing, because we're doing things the right way. And when you consistently do things the right way, the chips are going to fall. let's have them fall sooner than later, though. Let's go.
So watching game tape from this past week, I am curious. This is a third-party question. When you saw the Dragon quarterback, Jack Strand, what stood out for you when you watched the game tape last week when they played the Dragons?
Dude's got some special talent, man. And I don't know what Steve, what he figured out, how to get it out there. So, but no, man, like, we saw him. And I don't know if this is public information. I don't think Coach Lockaway will really care. We had Moorhead over at our place in the spring to do like a joint practice, joint scrimmage. So we got to see it live and in color. And yeah, it's different. And so when we get to that point, like, that'll be something that we need to figure out how we're going to, confuse him. But he hasn't seemed to be confused in the last couple of years. But, I'll be honest with you, watching film, you're still we're focusing on Southwest, right? And all of a sudden you're like, oh, geez, how did he complete that thing? So, like, yeah, it was good film to watch. Obviously, they got on him. Southwest, let's be real, man. Like, they're coming up here to win a football game.
Yep.
And if welcome to the NSIC, Jamestown. Let's go. We're going to show you how hard this league is. And I know it's going to be a battle. And I know those guys. Coach Alexander's their D-line coach, was with us for a couple of years. Coach Bullerman's their defensive coordinator. My wife and him went to college together. My wife's a Mustang. And so
how's that going this week?
We'll see. We'll see. My boys they had Southwest State socks on the other day. I'm like, what is that? But and then Coach Underwood and Coach Dosh, who we brought on staff back this year, they coached together. Back in the '60s or whenever it was when those guys are around. Coach Dosh will be mad at me. That'll be great. But yeah, man, it's some really exciting times. College football is the greatest sport in the country, and I love every second of it. And it's going to be a really cool time on Saturday in Jamestown.
Well, you got us fired up here, Matt. I'm excited to see what happens on Saturday. I appreciate the time as always. Thanks for doing this, and good luck Saturday. Okay.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Coach Jimmys.
There he goes, Brian Mistro, head coach, University of Jamestown. They've got their home Division II opener coming up with Southwest Minnesota State on Saturday. We'll see how it fares there for Jamestown. They lost their opener to Augie this past weekend. Again, there's going to be some tough sledding here, especially in the best Division II league in the country. But we'll see. Southwest has struggled, so nothing to take it for granted. But you'll see what happens coming up in the game on Saturday. We're overdue for a break. We'll take one now. We come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. Big second hour plan, including you'll hear from SEMO's head coach about coming up to play the Bison. Back on Hot Mic on this Thursday right after this. All right, wrapping up our first hour. Our thanks to Brian Mistro for joining us. Good stuff there. Jamestown, Southwest State coming up. Part of a busy football weekend. Dragons have their home opener. Obviously, the Bison have theirs. UND out on the road. Cobbers are off after their opening win. Always odd to have the week 2 bye. And then, of course, we've got a full slate of NFL games coming up on Sunday. I want to get a couple emails in here before we break. We got our big second hour coming up here. Dom, every time I hear you do an interview, I think the same thing. That was the best interview ever. Every time, that's what I think. Appreciate that. It's not for my wife, by the way, but your interview with Claire Stern was beyond wonderful. You always seem to ask the right questions, say the right things, no matter who you're interviewing. Just want to say thanks for what you're doing each and every day. Appreciate that. Claire was the star of that interview. And if you missed that, you can go back and check it out. But she was as open as one could possibly be about something that is as gut-wrenching as it was with her basketball career being over, and how scary it was for her health, for her life. Scary there. Another email comes in. Dom, at the risk of sounding like a Big Ten or SEC guy, it does not matter if the whole league goes 7-4. Those other conferences are so weak. The Missouri Valley Football Conference and the Big Sky should get 6 bids each, and everyone else can split up the other 12. This was in reference to a conversation I believe we were having yesterday with Drew Trafton during the show. Or it might have been our Bison video blog with Kolpak. There is some validity to that. I don't know if I would be great on giving the Big Sky 6. Valley, I would, some years, wouldn't be great doing 6 each year. This is in reference to because the college football playoff is trying to mandate that the Big Ten and the SEC get an automatic 4 when they expand to 16. I could some years absolutely because there's this argument that a 7-5 or 7-4 Valley team is better than a SoCon team that's 9-3 or a Patriot League team that has the same record, which I would agree with. I think that's valid by the schedules they play. Now, the caveat in that is other teams and other leagues getting into the mix. The Ivy League is sitting there, and I believe they finally start next week with games. They don't play the first 3 weeks of the season. And now that they're eligible for the FCS playoffs this season, we'll see a team in the postseason. I firmly believe they got to get on board with starting earlier. They have to. They only play 10 games. So we got to get them on board with at least going to 11, let alone 12, which means starting earlier and the whole deal with the presidents on that. But if they are willing to do that, then we can have a conversation on them scheduling. Then we can have a conversation on them getting more than one bid to the tournament. But when you have Valley teams, and this weekend's not a great example. Like the Jacks are playing Drake. That ain't going to help anybody. And then they play Mercyhurst. That's not going to be good. They're in the same boat the Bison are now. South Dakota State, welcome to the party. That you no longer can get really good games anymore because it just doesn't happen. Because who's going to play you? That is the byproduct of having a dominant program like you've had for the last 4 or 5 years. The issue, though, I would rather have the upper echelon teams like the Valley teams, even if they are 6-6. I'd still take a 6-6 Valley team over a 9-3 team out of the Northeast Conference. Because who you played? Or 10-2. I know who. Okay, well, and we're going to go down this road because UND fans will love this. Of a quality loss. Well, they played Youngstown State and lost by 5 on the road. All right. That's better than if you're St. Francis and racking up games over Merrimack and Stonehill and Long Island. Those are all real teams, by the way. That it just is. I don't care if you lost to the Bison and you lost to the Jacks and you lost to South Dakota. Let's say take for example, give me Youngstown State, right? Youngstown hasn't been in the playoffs in a couple of years. Youngstown finishes 7-5 this year, right? But they lose to the Jacks, they lose to the Bison, and they lose to South Dakota. But they beat UND or they beat Illinois State. Put them in. Put them in. That's the emailer's point on that. At least that's my 2 cents. Let's break. We come back. Our guy Sam Goetzinger will join us. He'll revel in his Colts winning. We'll talk a couple other things as well with Sammy G as we start hour 2 on a Thursday morning edition of Hot Mic right after this.
This is Hot Mic. Hot Mic on the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo.
Let's take a moment and talk about bunions. The original line read as this: Bunions. You may have heard of them. That was my original line.
Hey, thank you, Dom. Johnny Cool Guys there with the sunglasses on.
That was off the dome.
To the west of
when
Illinois.
I'm looking on it, like west. I shouldn't say right and left. Is that Missouri?
That is Missouri.
Yes.
That is
it's underneath
Missouri.
Iowa.
Way to go.
I'm getting good at this.
He's coming.
So we're going to like the bottom peninsula region.
Peninsula?
Okay, we're going to come back on the ETSU tailgate and then go to you. How am I going to go from a tailgate to bunions? Okay, good deal. Let's take a moment and talk about bunions.
All right, here he is. He joins us each and every Thursday. Our guy Sam Goetzinger.
Hey.
How'd Nashville treat you?
I liked it. I was a big fan of Nashville. You know, someone asked me like, what's been your favorite trip you've gone on since you've worked in this role? And I looked around and I was like, probably this one, like town-wise.
Yep.
I thought it was great.
Yep.
We went down to Broadway, and
that's a scene.
That was something. I had never,
That's a word for it.
I had never been there. Got to see what life was like down there. Had some great food, some good chicken. I was a big fan of Nashville.
Yeah, I'm intrigued if this season ends the way that Bison fans hope it does and NDSU's back, what that is like in early January.
Yeah.
Like, it was September, weather was great, even though it rained on us that particular night. But you get what I'm saying. It was 75, 80 degrees, that it was bumping. Like, is that way early January going to be like that?
I
don't
like
know.
to think that those coming from the Midwest will be fine.
Oh, they'll enjoy themselves.
But those that are there, I guess I don't know. I don't know what life is like down there when we get into the winter. But hopefully it's a fun time, and hopefully the 10,000 that we were hoping for and more go if they make it to Nashville later in the season.
Do you have a statement on Nissan Stadium you'd like to say?
I was completely right. I was right.
For those that missed your appearance last week, you said
it's dumb.
Yes,
essentially that's what I said. And going around, I good thing they're making a new one.
Yeah,
good thing.
Which our hotel was right next door to where the new building is going up, and it's amazing because that stadium is 25 years old. And they already throw it away. We need a new one.
Well, I think it's a smart decision.
It's okay.
It's not the worst thing in the world.
I would say
I don't think it's an NFL stadium.
So I've had the good fortune, much like you have. I've been to numerous NFL stadiums. I would definitely put that near the bottom with the Bills Stadium. And obviously Buffalo's getting a new one next year as well. And the one in Buffalo's been around for 40 years.
Yeah.
Easy. It's been there a long, long time. As former Ralph, well, I knew it as Rich Stadium. Now it's Highmark Stadium, I think it is. But Nissan's not that far removed from that.
I would place some Power 5 football stadiums ahead of that place.
Yeah,
I
imagine
like the Shoe in Ohio State was great. I'd even put where the Gophers play ahead of it.
Huntington Bank's pretty nice.
Yeah,
I would grant you that.
It's fantastic.
I've had a chance to be there too.
I just. Like walking around,
there wasn't much frills with it. I guess is what
you
that's
don't
what
get the
happen.
thrill. And I know it's not fair to compare it to U.S. Bank Stadium because that is something else. That's in a league of its own. But you don't get that feeling walking around the concourse. And it's a little neat that it's an open air setting and everything. But just it looked a little run down, and I'm sure everybody down there would agree that it was time for a new one. So good thing that they're getting one, and. We'll see what that one looks like. But it looks like it's connected to Nissan Stadium right now. I'll be really curious to see how they handle knocking down the old one.
I'm not a great engineering mind.
I'm
so
not either.
I'm not either.
I won't speculate.
Emails waiting for you
All
on
right.
the show. Dom, can you ask Sam, the resident hockey guy, should we be worried that Kirill Kaprizov rejected the Wild offer yesterday?
Well, I saw that.
We have not talked about this on the show yet today.
Okay.
So just to give fans a brief update on this, Minnesota Wild and Kirill Kaprizov, who's the top 5 in the NHL probably player.
Yep.
He's up for a contract extension after this season. The Wild offered him, I believe, 8 years, 126,
which is one of the
128,
which is one of the most ludicrous, contract.
It'd be the richest contract in NHL history, and he said no.
Yeah. So what does that tell you? That
what,
doesn't look good.
That's what I'm asking you. What does that tell you?
Well, it doesn't look good. I think now you work in if he doesn't want that, how much more can you give or offer? And when do you start to turn the gears to we need to get something for him as opposed to just losing him for free?
Okay, so the mindset I heard yesterday, I don't know if this is a spin, that maybe Kaprizov and his representatives want a shorter deal for more money. I think of Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
Like Cousins never signed long-term. He signed a 3-year deal and got mass guaranteed. And I think every NHL contract is guaranteed as well.
Yep.
So like Kirk signed 3 years, 75.
Right.
Or 3 years, 90 and got that. I don't know if Kaprizov wants to go down that road in the NHL.
It's just been so confusing to follow because what was it back in May? Oh yeah, everything's
want to
great.
be there. It'll get done.
Well, then what happened?
Yeah.
And where's the? I'm sure you're not going to get a lot of transparency in contract negotiations at the professional level. But what happened? Where's the disconnect? How do you find the middle ground? But as of right now, just 1,000-yard view on it doesn't look great in the future of Kaprizov in Minnesota, and now that's a huge loss.
This guy's a great player.
Yes.
He's really. We're watching some of his highlights now. I mean, this is a guy that the Wild drafted, I think, in the 5th round. They waited for him to come here, and then he's been just dynamite. He's been really good.
He hasn't been a buzz.
Now, granted, he missed half the season last year. He gets hurt. He missed 41 games. That's half the NHL season last year. The Athletic reported, Wild president of hockey ops and general manager Bill Guerin declined to comment on the report, asked whether the report, if true, could mean Kaprizov won't sign an extension or instead wants to negotiate a shorter-term deal. Guerin also would not comment to The Athletic. It can't be like a Marion Gabrick deal where he left and they got nothing.
Yes,
I remember that. Like they got nothing.
At some point, you have to. Okay, if this isn't going to happen, we have to utilize the trade value. He's going to be the face of whatever franchise he goes to.
The owner just said last week that he was great. Like,
exactly.
hey, I remember reading that story.
Yes.
Like, hey, it's going to happen.
That's where I'm confused on the disconnect.
If they're going to do with the nuclear option, they have to get more than what the Lakers got for Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
Like this guy is that good that you got to get bona fide stars coming back to Minnesota.
I mean,
this is going to happen.
I would equate it. I can't remember exactly what was the Kevin Durant deal. I feel like it's got to be
which one?
Yeah, well, this most recent one.
The one that Houston got.
Yeah,
with Phoenix. I don't even know if they got
a
elite
couple
players.
Yeah,
so.
but it's got to be bigger than that. Don't
I
you
would.
think?
Yeah. Well, if you're talking Durant like in his prime, like 10 years ago, then I'd say that.
I would agree.
But I mean, people are going to study that Luka Doncic trade, and it's just like what?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's all the Lakers had to give up to get Luka Doncic? Really?
Yeah.
Like that's what I don't want, because Minnesota teams have been down this road before.
Yep.
They gave everything to Dallas to get Herschel Walker, and that became the Cowboys. You're watching that Netflix doc.
Exactly.
Everything came from Minnesota became the Cowboys Super Bowl dynasty.
I could definitely see this ending up being, just a typical Minnesota situation where it does not work out well.
I love watching this guy play. I don't watch a ton of hockey as much as I used to, but I watch when Kaprizov's out. I like watching him play because he's that
heads.
good.
You can tell there is a separation between him and the other players on the ice, and they just got to get something done, or at least get something in return that is, worth noting.
Another email comes in here.
All right, what do we got?
Is Sam ready to give Daniel Jones his flowers after he buried the Colts last week?
Yes, I am.
The Colts!
I'm on the train.
The Indianapolis Colts! They won by $1 million on Sunday.
I think myself and the rest of Colts Nation Go Blue have completely shifted our mindsets on where we were on Daniel Jones even just 2 weeks ago. I love the guy. He's awesome. He's my
Well, you know why?
quarterback.
KOC had him here.
Whatever.
The quarterback whisperer.
Don't take the credit on that.
Absolutely.
He was here for a cup
he
of
was
coffee.
great in this game.
You know what? No, that's all Shane Steichen's doing. KOC did nothing on that.
I mean, when you look at the week 1 beatdowns, or just scores, the one that jumped off the page was this. No one saw this coming.
I was watching it. What is happening?
Yeah.
And I will give flowers to Daniel Jones. I thought he played a phenomenal game. I think a lot of flowers need to go to the defense as well. They were a crucial part in that blowout win. 3 takeaways in the game against Miami.
Look at this throw.
Yeah,
right on the
not
money.
bad.
That's
Look
a great
at the catch.
That's really good. That's really good.
Tyler Warren looked good. Jonathan
guy,
Taylor
Tyler
was
Warren.
fighting for extra yards. It was. I went from before the game, we are a 4-12 team, and I see nothing that will change my mind.
You don't see a loss on the schedule now?
Yeah, now it's we could sneak our way into the playoff, because it's not like the other teams in the AFC South were fantastic.
So that's a great point, because watching the Bills-Ravens game Sunday night seemed like it's those two, and then everybody else in the AFC. They're
all the way down.
Just all right. You guys can fight from 3 on to 7 of who the other playoff teams. And you're right. The AFC South, Jacksonville had a nice win. They
but
did,
it was Carolina.
Correct. And Carolina's bad. And then the Titans did what the Denver
Almost
gave them the ball 4 times and they still couldn't win.
Yeah, I'm
in the
still
game.
not on the Denver train, so I'll take that with.
And
a
you
grain
got
of
the
salt.
Broncos this weekend.
Yes, so I think we'll see what the Colts are.
Well, look at
all
this
about.
now. So if you beat Denver, then you go to Tennessee. You could be 3-0.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
That could be 3-0 before September's even over.
That would match my win total that I thought we were going to have at the end of the year. I'll be to me it's like UND after the Kansas State game. Okay, was it one good game?
Yep.
Can they sustain this? I think we'll know about the Colts after this Denver game.
Okay.
If Denver does have the best defense in the league, like everyone's saying. But I'm high on it. I don't think Anthony Richardson's going to see the field for the Colts in a long time. If ever. I think that ship has sailed.
Going back to our previous segment, then what can you get for him?
Well, Well, I think
you know what I mean?
that has tanked.
Probably.
That trade value has tanked over the last year and a half or so. I don't think he's done himself or the organization any favors, so I doubt we'll get anything for him. I don't know if Daniel Jones is the man for the 5 years down the road, but he's the man for right now, and I'm on the train. I like it.
Let's break. We come back. We'll chat what Sam's working on for Bison Game Day this week. We'll look ahead to the home opener and a couple other topics with Sam. We roll on a Thursday morning edition of Hot Mic right after this. All right, back with our guy Sam. Tom Matukewicz. You got that rolling off the tongue?
Okay,
Matukewicz.
is that how you say it?
Matukewicz.
I was looking at it.
Yes.
I was practicing it this morning, and I was like, I think I'm saying this wrong.
SEMO head coach.
Okay, Matukewicz.
That's his name.
All right.
We'll hear from him coming up here in just a few minutes. We've got a few minutes left here with Sam. We'll chat about what he's working on Bison Game Day in a minute. You just hit on something in the break, though. We were talking on the Kaprizov stuff in the first segment, that already, when you lump that news in with what's going on with the Twins right now, I mean, this is a double whammy. What's going on?
What I told you in the break is that Minnesota sports fans just need a win.
Yeah.
With what's going on with the Twins.
I mean, they're slam dunking with the Vikes. What happened Monday night with what J.J. McCarthy did in the Vikes.
It wasn't great for a good stretch, but it
wasn't.
Congratulations, they pulled it out at the end. I gave up on the game. I will say that. I gave up on
it.
Did you? In like early in the third quarter. I came back.
Did you? What did you flip on?
Oh, what movie did I watch? It was some stupid movie. But that took precedence over watching the rest of the third quarter. But then I saw something was happening, so I came back. I quickly came back. But Minnesota sports fans just need a win, and it would be gut-wrenching to see this Kaprizov deal end with no positive for the Wild. Whether the positive be he stays, okay, that's great, or the positive be they get something in return that's worth value, great. But if they get nothing and he's gone, oh man, how do you move on?
Well,
because it's going to be 5 years if they go the draft picks route. It's going to be 5 years till you see one of these guys.
And mentioning the Twins. The Twins are playing the Diamondbacks this weekend. I don't know anybody's going to be there, but
which is sad. Yeah.
Think of Sunday. The Twins have a game. The Lynx, I think, are opening up the playoffs on Sunday at home, and the Vikings play Sunday night. Who's going to go to Target Field?
Exactly.
I
mean, be the most barren place
in
the city.
8 people there.
Yeah, it's
the Diamondbacks.
They got to be shuffling out
Holy
tickets, just
cow.
handing them out to whoever's walking by at that point, which is sad. We would always go to Twins games in September every year, and it was a fun.
I did that actually quite a bit.
It was cool seeing some fall baseball, and now what's
I'll tell
point?
you, my first Twins game at the Metrodome was in the last year of it was 2009. I went down for middle of the week. They were playing Cleveland. This is when that 2009 magical run when they end up forcing the one-game playoff and beat the Tigers in game 163. I went for a Tuesday and a Wednesday, so it was a night game and then it was a day game, and it was beautiful.
Yeah,
and it just was like, what am I doing going indoors?
Yeah,
but the point was, there was a lot of people there. It was 20,000 people in a September game at 1:00 inside the Metro. I mean, and because the Twins were in it.
Yeah.
So people would come and just when your team is in it in September, I said this off the top of the show, it's fantastic. But if they're not, oh boy,
it's a drag.
Yeah, man.
It's a drag for the next 2 months. Yeah. It's going to be a grind. So hopefully some good news comes out of this Kaprizov thing, but doesn't sound pretty.
I got a couple emails here on the Bison, which I'm going to share.
I've been an email machine
I know,
today.
we got it going on. People want to talk to me, I guess. I said something that stirred them up. One here, and I'll ask this to you, is how do we judge the Bison through the first 2 games of the year?
That's a good question because you've seen the first team offense, defense for about combined full game now.
Yeah, for about one full game.
And granted, they have looked really good. Even the guys that have come in, in the reserve guys that have come in later in the games, they've looked really good as well. But it's the Citadel. It's Tennessee State. How do you get a good baseline of where these guys are at? And frankly, I thought we're going to get our answer. I don't know if it's going to be this weekend. I don't think so.
SEMO will be the best team of the 3 they've played. I'm just not sure how good SEMO is.
Exactly, and I honestly thought we were going to get a better baseline of where this NDSU team is at when USD comes into town, and we'll get a better one. But they're still
South
they're
Dakota's
having
got
a tough,
its own issues.
They're
right
having
now.
a tough go at it as well. It's hard to judge. I think just watching it, seeing where they're at, and taking the opponents, who they are and what they've done out of the team looks good. It looks like a very good team. Now, granted, you can throw the conversation back out there. They not
competition level of who they played.
Yep.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I think what we've seen, Cole Payton has been efficient. Has been good. I think that's something that we had a question mark on. I think you've got a pretty good response there. I think front seven has been really, really good.
Yeah, they looked really good against Tennessee State. I think they really shined this last week, and I asked Barik about it in the post game. It's a pretty neat deal to see a running back get stopped at the line of scrimmage and then get pushed 5 to 11 yards after that. That is not giving up on the play. I think the offensive line has looked good. Whatever the combination is going to finalize at once we get later on in the season, I guess that's what we'll find out. But I think they got a great core right now.
Now, secondary, and this is a story where we're doing for Bison Game Day, I don't know yet. Because they just haven't been tested. They have not been tested at all.
You've gone up against a team that runs a
triple option.
You got a Tennessee State team that their quarterback was playing in his second career game,
and I think
he wasn't throwing the ball much.
Yeah, I think each team has played 6 quarterbacks combined.
Yeah,
like Citadel played 3 and Tennessee State played 3.
Yes,
so 6 quarterbacks have played in the first 2 games against the Bison
and really
defense.
None of them is airing it out.
No,
it's not an Aiden Bauman situation.
No,
this week
you got to test this week.
Jax Leatherwood's going to throw the ball around a little bit. I was watching some film on him getting ready for the pregame show as well, and it's not like he's the most prolific thrower of the football of all
big
time.
Man.
He's 6'8", 250 something, but he can move it. He can move it better than the other 6 quarterbacks the Bison have seen this season. So I think there'll be a little bit more. It'll be their literally tallest test of the year so far. And I'll be curious to see how they handle it. But I think we're going to get a better answer this week against SEMO.
What do you think turnout-wise is? It's not a sellout. There's still tickets available. I think they were hoping for that. Unless there's some last momentum, it's not going to happen. I would think.
Not a sellout with the new uniforms, the banner hanging.
Nope.
It's wow, interesting.
It's going to take something. It's been a while since we had a regular season sellout. It's been years pre-COVID since the last time that's happened.
SEMO's not going to draw in that crowd.
Nope.
What's the capacity again? 15?
19 for football. A little over 19 for football standing room. It's not going to get there.
10? Is that way too low?
Yeah, I think they're going to be somewhere in the 15, 16 range.
Yeah,
okay. But for a home opener after playing the first 2 on the road, I thought there might be a little more buzz.
Too. Yeah,
but people, once you give them a reason not to come, it's really hard to get them to come back. It really is.
And is the reason not to come because the game could be a blowout?
I think that's been out there for a long time. Mm-hmm. There are people that tell me, well, I'm not going to go because I know the Bison are going to win, which is unbelievable to say that, but it's accurate. Most of the time, I think when the pandemic hit, and I know this is before your time in Fargo, once people found out there was other things they could do with their Saturdays, they did it.
Well, I suppose.
And when it came back, I don't know if I want to spend 7-8 hours there.
Yeah, and you talk about prices as well. I imagine that has gone up. It's honestly, not like it's the most expensive thing in the world.
I don't think that to me, that doesn't hold any water.
Yeah.
I think if you're going to go, you'll spend the money to go. Because it doesn't break the bank on that. They've tried. I'll give the Bison administration credit on this because I hammered them for a long time on we're gonna do the same thing for every game. Last year they changed it. They got rid of the inflatable helmet. They brought the fire out.
Yep.
They did the Thundar hitting on the drum. I don't know if they're going to do that again anymore.
I don't think
they
so.
did the Stampede March where the team walks through the dome crowd, which was cool. Now they're doing the tailgate where you can go and park your tailgate the night before.
Right.
That's good. It's about 10 years too late, honestly, for the fans that want to go do it. But it's trying to embrace on that. I just don't know how you get that level back unless the opponents are different, which is not going to happen until you
That's not
go up a
yeah,
level.
It's just you and Jeff were talking about it this week.
We were.
I mean, how do you handle this scheduling bout? You got to do what you got to do. There's only a finite amount of teams out there, that you can play. It is really a unique experience to go to the Fargo Dome on a Saturday and watch the game, regardless of the outcome of the game. Even if you're there for a little bit, it is a pretty cool thing. And my bad argument to, yes, there is things to do to enjoy your day off. You got a million options. Why not go?
Yeah.
Why not go? It's the first one of the year. It's a good time. It is fun. You see them get the banner raised. You get the new uniforms. Why not? Why not check it out?
I'm a little nervous on the new unis for broadcasting wise to see the numbers.
I would be. I would be. I've never been a fan of yellow and gold, or not yellow, white and gold together. I've done.
Come on, binoculars ready.
Bismarck Legacy, they put that out before. It's difficult. Colorado's done it with the white and gold. It's hard to see, but
just 8s and 5s. Those can get mixed up. I don't want that.
You get a crunched up number in there. It's going to be hard to see. I don't know.
I'm tentatively optimistic there.
I hope they look cool. I'm sure they will.
They will.
I'm sure they will.
I think they'll be again. If they had a white helmet, it'd be. I'm talking to the Under Armour guy tomorrow who designed it. So he's gonna be. I think we're gonna have him on the show tomorrow.
Into him a little bit,
so when can we get the white helmet? Who's made? I know you guys don't make the helmets.
Under Armour doesn't make.
Under
Armour
helmets. Doesn't do helmets, but can you jumpstart this? Can we make this happen?
Yeah.
So I'm
know.
I'm sure he'll take it under advisement when he's on the show.
I hope your spotter's on it. I hope they're on it.
Last thing before we go, give us what you're working on. Really neat story for Bison Game Day coming up on Saturday.
Inside the Herd this week, we're turning our attention kind of away from the players and over to one of the coaches. And Ryan Napoli, who's a big part of the strength and conditioning program at NDSU. Interesting. It's kind of a reunion for him this week because he spent so much time. He was at NDSU, and then he went to SEMO, and he made another stop in there as well. And now he's back to NDSU. So we talked about that, and I interviewed him earlier this week, and I guess I didn't realize the connection and the relationship that he had with Coach Polasek and how much that he's helped him throughout Napoli's career moving forward, which has been a pretty cool deal. And I went to watch one of the weight training sessions, and it was the freshmen, so it wasn't the full team. Oh man!
So these are the guys that are redshirting this year. Okay,
yes, and and there was a couple other exceptions there. Miles Mitchell was in there as well, and I left sweating. I was. You hear stories about how good this strength and conditioning program is. You hear stories about what Coach Kramer has done and how highly people talk about him, but then to go and witness it. Wow.
Pretty cool.
I second everything that I've ever heard. It was intense. It was efficient. Getting the job done. No excuse environment. You just go in there, you work, you build, and the attention to detail was something special. Cool. It was pretty neat. So we'll show some of that this weekend.
Ryan's one of my favorite people. I was super pumped when he came back, and when I saw the game schedule, I'm like, oh, that'd be a neat story if we can do this. And he's been open to talk, so we're looking forward to share his story coming up on Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Back inside the Dome. And I will give a little tease here as well. When we get to the Pick'em, we have, for the first time in the history of the Pick'em, we've been doing this now 4+ years, Kyle Emanuel is in the lead.
Oh, he is.
He is in the lead.
That makes me mad.
Never happened.
He puts no effort into his picks. No effort. I can call him out right here because he knows it.
And you know how he got the lead? Because he flipped to the Jacks.
Yes.
He picked South Dakota State.
It was a frantic commercial
Saturday
break
morning.
before the Pick'ems where he was trying to call everybody to flip his pick. He was.
And they did. They made it work for him. So there you go. So he's got the lead now.
He looks at some of my reasonings. I just want everybody to know that. He looks at my picks and my reasonings. That's why he's in the lead.
So, all right, bud. Great stuff, and we'll see you on Saturday, okay? You got some volleyball tonight. You're going to be
night, football
Cheyenne,
tomorrow.
right?
Yeah.
Where are you tomorrow?
Cheyenne again.
So you got the Cheyenne double dip here over the next couple days. So here's Sam tonight and tomorrow calling some volleyball and football. Good stuff, bud. Thanks for coming by.
Appreciate it.
We'll take a break. We come back. The Southeast Missouri State head coach, Tom Matukewicz, will join us about the Redhawks coming to Fargo, what they have planned for the Bison. That's coming up on the other side of the break. We're back after this. Welcome back, everybody. Final half hour of our show on this Thursday. Don't forget, tomorrow we got picks with my Pops. I'm sure he's going to brag about how he did in week 1. We'll do that. We wrap things up tomorrow's show to get ready for the weekend. And the weekend will bring the first Bison home game of 2025. Southeast Missouri State comes to town. First time ever that they're going to play a game in the state of North Dakota. First time ever playing a North Dakota school. They haven't played the Bison at all, and this will be a first-timer for the Redhawks, who play in the Ohio Valley Conference. 2 of the last 3 years, they've won that league and made the playoffs. A couple of years ago, they played out in Missoula, lost to Montana. Game, actually, they led for a majority of it before the Grizz got their act together and pulled away and won the football game. Last year, they ended up hosting Illinois State in the opening round of the playoffs. They committed 8 turnovers in that game and yet still had a chance. The Redbirds ended up picking up the victory. Yesterday afternoon, I had a chance to visit with their head coach, Tom Matukewicz, about scheduling this game, the opportunity that presents itself for the Redhawks, and what they're hoping to get out of the trip to Fargo.
I think the thing we've been able to accomplish is SEMO football means something. When I got here, it didn't. There was apathy. People were embarrassed to even put a football shirt on. That's not the case. We have great attendance now, got a good fan base. We got a lot of those things going on. I think what we got to do is build all the infrastructure. We're doing a $20 million stadium renovation. We're, a lot of personnel stuff that we got to get fixed. And so I think for us to take the next step, we're going to have to do some stuff from a facility standpoint and an infrastructure standpoint to get there. But our university is committed. We're trying to do revenue share, which, it's a stretch for a school our size and things like that. So, but there is a commitment here. They now believe that we could do some things, and they're trying to do everything they can to do their part.
How much does winning help with that, to show the higher ups that, hey, we're competing, we're going, and we're knocking teams off, we're making the postseason, to invest in us?
No, that is my job. They don't build facilities and then you win. That never happens. Like, they always build facilities after you win. And so you hey, look, we are a flag bearer for our institution. They've spent a lot of money on our program, and when we play, we need to create value not only for our institution but our region and those type of things, and we take that very serious.
You're in a pretty fertile recruiting area. Tell me about St. Louis, Kansas City, hitting those areas. Because I know the Dakotas come down there pretty often too, that say we got to be impact here, we got to get the guys here to come to SEMO.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one unique thing about us is we're about 2 hours from 4 states. So that's a little unique in our area. But, we recruit about 6 hours from us. I really feel like that's kind of the window that we look at. And so we can get to a lot of different states, and recruiting's everything. Just that's what the Bison have done. But I also think what they've done well is they're not chasing stars and things like that. They really recruit guys that fit their program. And that's what I've learned here is what makes a SEMO recruit is really important, and so that's what we got to stick to.
I got to know I know you had Paxton DeLorme for so long, just a tremendous player. How much does his success open the door for you to get other quarterbacks, like a guy like Jackson, come to your school?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, you have proof. We talk about we want to do this and do that, but when you can show it, and we want to be a balanced team. We weren't a balanced team last year because of injuries and some stuff like that, but we're not going to beat a good team without throwing it. And so just having that kind of success, him going to the Manning camp, just kind of validates what we do here. If you're a quarterback, you want to be able to go to something like that. It's just as a program, as you build it, you're standing on the shoulders of those before us, and without a Paxton, then it's hard to get a Jax, and hopefully it'll continue on.
This the largest quarterback you've ever coached and seen?
This would be the largest player I've ever coached. So 6'8", 255 is, you think, my God, it can't be 6'8", and he really kind of is. So it's pretty unique. It's funny because I was talking to his quarterback trainer in San Diego, and I was like, man, I can't believe no more people are recruiting him. They say, they're scared of his size. And I was like, that's why I want him. So it's amazing what I like, people didn't like. And so, I changed my philosophy 3 years ago that I don't want a mobile. I don't want a dual threat. Like, I just don't think you could stay healthy long term. And at the end of the day, every great game that you have is going to be a 2-minute drive. And I want a quarterback that's what he does the best. And so he's a pocket guy. He's mobile enough, but you at his best is it's 3rd and 8. He drops back there and you give him a pocket. That's his sweet spot.
What made you come to that philosophy change about not wanting a mobile quarterback anymore? You mentioned health-wise. Was there something that just clicked to say this is the way
One
I want to
other
go?
thing is we had trouble stopping. Most running quarterbacks have a good run game, and so from a defense, we never struggled with a dual threat quarterback. We had trouble stopping a guy that could really throw it, and so I just felt like that's what we should try. We get as much mobile as we can get, but I'm not taking a guy that can't spin it.
Mm. I got to ask about having the brothers match up. You've had Peyton last year, Peyton Brown, who just had a dynamite year. His younger brother is obviously up here. Describe that relationship and what you're expecting maybe on Saturday from each of them.
Yeah, man, they are just raised well. Their mother and father are some of the best people on the planet. They're both super competitive, raised great kids. Peyton, I thought he was good, but I didn't think he was going to be that good, to be honest. I was surprised just at his quickness and his ability to how quick he could cut, see things, and some stuff like that. Hated that he got hurt last year. When you look at him, you think he's 38, but we have to all understand, this is still a 20-year-old, and so he's still learning the game and the protections and all the other things. But he's a great Red Hawk, and I know that he's looking forward to seeing his brothers. I'm sure there'll be we were actually the first one to offer the quarterback, and so North Dakota State at least can't say they were the first.
When you look at NDSU, what stands out? We have to do this if we're going to win or have a chance to win the football game on Saturday.
Well, I mean, it's probably more philosophy wise, because really player wise, there's not like you can't say there's a weakness. And so then you just go through and you look at how do we win as a team, and I think we got to be able to run the ball. We got to be able to stop the run. And that's, comes down to our ability to hang on to the ball. If we're 3 and out, the game's going to get away from us. If we can't stop the run, then we'll never get them in a passing situation. And then it's hard to turn them over. It's hard to do all the other things that it takes. Can't turn it over. Hopefully we can maybe make a turnover or something, and that gives us an extra possession. But that's how you beat those teams. I showed them and talked a little bit of SIU game. In 2021 they knocked them off when they're number 1 team in the country. So I mean it can be done, but it wasn't in the Fargo Dome. They're 38-1 in playoff home games, and so we understand just how challenging Saturday will be.
What have you heard about the Dome? What have your colleagues told you about coming up here?
So it'd be a great experience. They said it's going to be loud and the fans are awesome. I mean, there's been no negative. It was all positive, and I'm bringing some of our collective guys and administration and some people also, so they can see, what are some things that we need to know what the market looks like. We need to know what we're looking up at. And so that'll be a helpful thing for our administration to see.
I got to ask, Coach Polisic mentioned he knows a bunch of guys that have worked with you or for you or over the last few years. Do you guys have a direct connection or not yet?
Well, I don't know if you know Ryan Napoli.
Yep,
Ryan
absolutely.
Napoli was my strength coach, and Polisic actually got him hired here. I talked to him. I didn't know Ryan from anybody. Obviously, I love the fact that he's from North Dakota State, but other than that, I didn't really know much. And then he was at Wyoming with Jay Salvell, and Jay Salvell and I were at several jobs together under Kill Tree.
It's crazy how the coaching tree is, the connections on that. That's amazing to me. I want to ask about Ohio Valley football, and obviously now with you guys combined with the Big South, what's the best way for you to describe your conference and the style of football that's played there?
I think one of the best things about it is it's pretty wide open. You don't have, like a North Dakota State in it. You have a lot of guys that can compete for it. I think it's coached better than people realize. I think there's just a lot of quality coaches in the league. But I also feel like our league needed to get going. Like, I don't think we're doing well enough. I don't think we're led well. And so I think in nowadays times that there's a lot of risk of what is going on. And if you're not a high achieving football league, what does that mean for you long term? People will jump ship and it could get scary in a hurry.
I got to ask on looking at where things are at going forward, especially with these kind of games. Are you hopeful hey, we want to do more of this, to maybe schedule a South Dakota State, other Valley school? I know you play Southern, and I want to talk about that in a second in SIU, but are you hopeful to do more of these games if you can?
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I really do. It helps prepare you for the playoffs, great atmospheres. We've played Montana State, all those schools are great to play. Love to get to the Dakotas. So I think it's what's great about our level of football.
I asked Nick Hill this when at Missouri Valley Media Day about the rivalry with SIU and SEMO and the battle for the wheel. Obviously you've coached in for so long now. Can you describe what, I know you're worried about this week, but what next week is and what that means to both schools?
Yeah. What's crazy is it didn't always used to be like this. Nick and I have gotten the programs to where now it's a community event. And so when we play, like, it's not just two teams, it is two communities, two regions that are going together. We had already sold more tickets last week for the SIU game than even our home opener, and we had a great crowd for it. For the last, I think, 6 years, whoever's won made the playoffs, things like that. So it just adds to the rivalry, and it's been a fourth quarter game. It's not a nasty rivalry. We have a lot of respect for each other. Obviously, I coached Nick when I was at SIU, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for them. And so it's a good, healthy rivalry. It really is.
Last thing, Coach, and I really appreciate the time. You've coached in a lot of spots. Will you take a little time, look around, just take in the environment Saturday before the game?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm old enough that I really try to appreciate things. I'm, really thankful for this opportunity. Try to soak it all in. I won't get bothered by the crowd at all. I hope I'm going to try to amp them up. I think it's awesome to have a big environment like that.
That's my conversation there with Tom Matukewicz, head coach at Southeast Missouri State. Redhawks will head up tomorrow. Get ready for the football game coming up on Saturday. Appreciate his time. We'll take our final break. We come back. We'll wrap things up, get you ready for a busy Sports Thursday. Hot Mike will wrap after this. All right, wrapping things up here on a busy Thursday morning. I have the text in my phone. Full disclosure, tomorrow we'll have one of the higher-ups at Under Armour is going to join the show to discuss the uniforms. So if the mics get unplugged, Stace doesn't want to hear it, I understand. But that's tomorrow on the design of the white uniforms that NDSU will wear. One of the, let me get his exact title here so I make sure. The director of Team Sports Collegiate Division for Under Armour will be on the show tomorrow. That will be cool. I'm excited about that. So that's coming up tomorrow to wrap up the week, get you ready for a great weekend. Appreciate everybody's emails today. We had a lot of great feedback and always appreciate that. All right, let's do some what to watch before we get out of here. John's telling me we got to hurry. What to watch brought to you by Northwestern Mutual. All right, we got football tonight. Commanders and Packers, the debut of Amazon Prime for the year on Thursday Night Football. 7:15 tonight with Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. Kaylee Hartung on the call of that. College football tonight on ESPN, ACC style. North Carolina State and Wake Forest. 6:30 tonight if you need some college ball. And it's the regular season finale for the Minnesota Lynx. They take on Golden State, the Valkyries, who I believe are in the playoffs. 7 o'clock tonight on FanDuel Sports North for that one. Lynx wrap up the regular season, and it's on to the postseason for them starting this weekend. So, busy night of sports going on here tonight. Our thanks to Brian Mistro, to Sam Goetzinger, and Tom Matukewicz. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com. You can watch a full replay on WDAY+. Thanks so much for making part of your day with us. Just please try and listen and think before you speak. I try it every day. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a great Thursday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.